And that was how I learned that they weren't my mother and father after all. The idea came from reading a book at the library I frequented after school, while waiting for my working parents to pick me up. It was a book on genetics. It talked about DNA and about companies that can peek into the family history written within those loose-lipped strands. I spent the years between then and last week in a self-inflicted purgatory. I didn't go digging any further. At first, I didn't know how. And then, once I figured that out, I found that I no longer wanted any more of it. For once in my scientist life, I didn't want to know more. I let things sit, and the longer I did so, the more I became afraid of what I would see once I finally lifted the lid off that fermentation jar. But, as myths will tell, restless creatures are not contained inside of jars or boxes or other enclosed spaces for very long. Last week, I read an article that sent me back in time. Scrolling through the news on the morning bus ride to the lab, I came across an article about an adoptee living in Denmark who reunited with her Korean birth parents. She had a little tattoo on her inner left wrist, a cross with 2 dots, and it turned out to be a family tattoo. When she posted a picture of it online, the picture made its way to her birth family, and they reunited. I scrolled down the page and stared at the photos of the daughter reuniting with her sister, her parents, the small white dog. Something in me strained at the melange of emotions filling their faces. A small but persistent tug in the heart for something that I don't have, but want. Something that feels like tachycardia with no physical cause. And so, 1 week ago, I called the registry and wound up talking to the Korean pastor who runs the Dropbox into which someone had once placed me. It was in those moments that sea slugs became part of my identity. Invertebrates were on my mind. That day marked 3 months since the start of my unsuccessful sea slug breeding campaign. In the lab, I studied the molecules of bacteria that live within sea slugs, where there is a connection to the origins of life on Earth. I needed more slugs for a new set of experiments, but it had become expensive to hire someone to scoop them out of their natural habitat 1,000 miles away and ship them live to the lab every single time. So I'd begun a long and arduous series of attempts to breed my own. Turns out, invertebrate love can be just as finicky as human love, right from the get-go. You'd think it would be easy to get them to have babies, I told Iseul, my best friend, sister, partner in crime, that day. Sea slugs are hermaphrodites. They've got both male and female reproductive organs. So you just throw 2 slugs into a tank, give them some privacy, and voila, baby extravaganza, right? I pressed my cell phone between my shoulder and cheek to unscrew my thermos, and the smell of tomato sauce filled the lounge area outside the lab. It was only after 3 hours of cleaning aquarium tanks that I remembered I hadn't eaten yet. Wrong, I continued. Tragically wrong. It turns out sea slugs are picky about their love lives. It's ridiculous. I can't believe I've spent 3 months trying to get slugs to have sex. I took a bite of my pasta, which was unpleasantly soft because I had left it on the stove too long last night while distracted by an email. It's been 3 months now, said the email from my lab head, as if I weren't acutely aware and equally impatient with the sea slugs. If they're hermaphrodites, you can keep trying different combinations of them, right? Iseul said. How many do you have? Iseul is an investigative journalist. This means that she is perfect to bounce ideas off of when I've run up against a wall in my research. Distant enough from the lab bench to be emotionally detached from failed experiments, but able to think logically. 12. That's what I've been doing. Combinatorials with sea slugs. Maybe I should put 3 of them in a tank together. Do you think jealousy will do the trick? Or it could end up as a gastropod threesome. A win for you either way. This was stupid. Maybe it's just something to do with slippery marine organisms, I said. You know that Freud started off studying eels? He spent weeks trying to find where in male eels the gonads are located to crack the mysteries of eel sex, and then he gave up. I stabbed a piece of bow tie pasta, and my fork clinked against the metal rim of the thermos. Abby, are you eating lunch right now? Funny, Freud. Abby, it's 3:45 p.m. I chewed my pasta. I guess after failing to use eels as a model organism, he moved on to humans. Abby, I thought...